How do I try Tchat N Sign? You can go on a free trial. So, we're going to be on free trial. It will normally generate a random phone number for you. You can select another area code with a selection of phone numbers that you can choose to text your customers. There is also the option to synchronize with your existing office number. So, this can be done in a second time, but by clicking this way you will be able to do the test right away without linking to your office number first. You can select our different types of packages. I normally recommend the standard plus one span, which will give you access to all the features. And if you add users, you will still be able to do it with this package, and we can change the pricing in the future. You have access to a free month at the moment. The company name, so if you have a firm, you mark the name of your firm. If you think you have several teams, you mark the name of your firm with a dash, the name of the team or the lead consultant. For example, Bob Tremblay MGA ABC. The username is the one you will use. Here, it would be Bob Tremblay. You don't need to enter the credit card if you only want to do the free trial. However, at the end of the month, we will freeze your account, and you will have no choice but to enter it afterwards if you wish to continue with our service. You will receive an email that your account is activated. If you already have another team, or you are already with another company, you will be asked to enter the same information that you had with that email. This is my case here. Here we have the two companies that I have access to, so the one that I just created, which, Bob Tremblay's company. During the first creation process, I can enter my new logo in the company, enter my billing address, my phone number. You will click on authentication. Normally, you will be logged into your Facebook account, logged in as Willie. It gives me access to my different business pages, so I can select and link the account to this one. Afterwards, you will be asked to integrate Equisoft Connect. So, you're going to link the account, or make sure that it's the representative and not, for example, the deputy who would have access to two representatives who are not on the same team. It's important to really select the user with whom you want all the contacts to be downloaded or uploaded to our account. I will link this account that is already open with Equisoft. That's why the connection will be made automatically. Normally, it will take a few minutes to almost 1 hour if you have a large customer base as well as the migration of all customers is done. Meanwhile, you will be able to continue to activate your account, which means that you will be able to change your plan, enter your credit card information. You will be able to add users to add users. For example, you want to enter your assistant or another representative to enter their email. This person may be an administrator or not have access to accounting or billing, chat, electronic signature, fax. You can put the system in French, in English. They receive notifications of new features. It is also recommended if you do not want to receive email notifications, or you want to receive email notifications if there has been no response from a customer who has texted you. After how long you would like to receive this notification, you can change it here. And if you want that person to text with a different phone number, you can do that. Then we have the external shipments. This will be at the level or at the time of archiving. You will be able to record, for example, your coordinator or your MGA for insurance or investment. That's really a title you're going to give yourself as a reference. You mark the Cordo at MGA.com, the number of days that the link is available, the maximum number of downloads and the password that you will put, which, I hope, will not be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, because this password is always going to be the same for the person who takes care of you. This person will receive a password-protected link, and this password will remain the same for all the documents that you will have signed and sent for processing to an external person. You can do the same thing with a fax. For example, if you want, with Manulife Bank, put in a fax number. You can do it with a financial institution or an insurer. You just have to do it here and mark the name of the insurer. You can make an automatic response too. So, for example, on the weekend, you might say, "We're not available. We did receive your call or text, and we want to say we're going to be able to respond next Monday." You could do this for after-hours lunch, so it's really up to you. The idea remains to notify the customer as to what he has been taken care of, but that we are not available at a given time. So, this is the phone number with which I generated my activation. If you contact us, we will be able to add phone numbers to you, to link your existing line phone number. But meanwhile, if people text or call you at that number, you can redirect the call to your office number. Once that's done, now the call transfer is generated. If people call that number you're texting in, they're going to get your office number. You can also add a fax number on your own. You can take a number and toll-free number or a local number visible to all users. And if I want that number to be the default number, you order. You have two things left: experience, signature. This is the address that you want all emails to be redirected to once the documents are signed. For example, the senior assistant who will be handling the transactions. It's going to pollute less the emails of the representative who, in my opinion, doesn't really need to know that all the documents are signed to continue the signing process. You can also make a redirection to your website to tell the customer that you have received the documents. We can make you a specific page for that. The idea is also to show them that you have a site that exists. You could add specific text to say that you have received the document, or if you want to add something personalized. Otherwise, you will have a default text. You can make connections directly to your personal Microsoft OneDrive. This is the Hotmail or Outlook type accounts. Here, the SharePoint will be an Office 365, Google Drive or Dropbox account. Once the connection will be established, the different companies I could select with or the different SharePoint I have access to be able to go and synchronize the documents I will archive in the future. We are now starting to have the conversations. What I'm going to do, I'm going to put us in a demo company that will give us a little bit more visual. Here would be two different teams. So, I could have a team with a representative, 2 or 3 assistants. I could have another company with 2 representatives, an assistant. In short, these 2 environments are separate. The only person who sees them is the person who is a user in both companies or in both teams. Therefore, it will be displayed automatically, but they are still universes that are not talking to each other and that are separated. Therefore, if I have a conversation that was started, I got 2 notifications for Jeff from an internal standpoint, so what's in black is a conversation with the team. This means I can talk without the client seeing the conversations. Therefore, I can send him his statement. Therefore, that conversation is with the internal team. You could do a search for a new user. And that user, even if you haven't talked to him, texted him, received messages through Facebook, you can start talking to your team about anything in the file. Which means that it is, let's say, your work chat. No matter what medium is used, you will stay in the same interface. And if you talk about the client rather than in another environment, for example, with a Microsoft team of this world, you can always have a trace of all the conversations that are not mixed with 2 or 3 other information that we had in mind and that we will have sent to our assistant at the same time. Therefore, there is less chance of error if you do it this way. And then we have a record of what was said between the client and even what was said internally for that client. So, if I go back to my example here, I have a client that I have an internal conversation with. We'd say, can you send in the statement? We're going to demonstrate. As long as I'm in a purple environment, that means I'm talking internally. And if I tick off this portion, I get in touch with the customer. I can answer him. We see that now. I have just spoken with the client. I am going to send him a document. So investment statement. It gives a download link that has an expiration time, a maximum number of downloads. Just with that, I have a level of security that is still very high, and I can also add a password for the person to open said document. You will have conversations with a client. The customer can also choose to talk to you via Facebook. If the customer talks to you through Facebook, we'll see that it's in the same window that it's going to happen. And we will be able to continue to talk to him naturally through Facebook without having to make any changes. And the person, it is always in the last message that we sent that will be delivered. You should know that with Facebook, we have a 24-hour deadline to respond to a customer. Otherwise, you have to log in again or go and talk in the Messenger chat directly, and what you say there will be synchronized in our platform. I could also, while I'm in a virtual meeting with a client, ask them, live, can you send me a document so I can have this on file, so I can process the file? Here I'm sending a download link. The download link, which will appear in the person's file or cell phone, is exactly that window. You will be able to choose the file. When you have chosen the file, you can send it to him. So the customer clicks on take a picture, authorizes the camera, sends a document. He will see that he has just sent a document, and on the other side, we have a notification like that the customer has just sent us a document. So, we see that T2033 McKinsey just appeared, and what I can do with that, I can rename it. And here what I want to do is send it directly to the client's file. I can download it and send it, for example, into my OneNote and directly into my conversation to talk about. So if I were in my OneNote, I could take the document that's here and start being able to explain to him that, yeah, this is what we're going to do in this file here. So it really gives a very live look with the client. In my experience, it is more successful to have the documents while we are with them than to ask them to send them to us afterwards. I can also, to make sure that I'm going to claim the conversation, now I'm the only one who's going to get those notifications. Once the conversation is over, a conversation with a client normally has a beginning and an end because it is often linked to a transaction. For example, he wants an RRSP contribution. We'll be able to say all the information we need, and at the end, we'll be able to say, that's it, I now want to go archive the conversation. When I go to archive the conversation, we're going to say, TFSA $6,500 2023. That's going to be the title that we're going to have in Equisoft. It will also be possible to mark a description. McKinsey, for example. I can send this to my external storage. I can put it in Equisoft and create an Equisoft activity. If your windows are in English, the nomenclature will be in English too, in your environment. You can make a change and go to your profile settings to put them in French. Now, when I go back into the conversations, and I'll click on Archive. Now, just doing a refresh. Everything will be done in French. And if I click on Archive, I will fall into my nomenclature, which is French in Equisoft. For example, type of business, customer service, compliance. I'll send this to my SharePoint. So with one click, the whole conversation, this window will open only the first time you connect to your SharePoint. The conversation is over here. If the client or I continue the conversation, what was said just before will reappear, but I now have a new communication, so it is only from this moment, from the hello, that the next archiving will take place. I can go and look at my business, and there, you'll see that I have a customer service, a TFSA 6500 correspondence. And if I click on that match, I look at the description, the public document. We have our PDF that is here, which should give the whole conversation. So, by clicking on the document, it's going to take me to the PDF that was generated with the entire conversation of what was said, with the download links. So your compliance at the communications level, you have internal, you have external communications. No matter which medium you have communicated with your client, they are all grouped together, and, in a few clicks, it is filed in the client's file. The last thing we can do directly with our omni-channel chat is to make changes to the contact. So if I'm going to make a change to this contact, do save. And when I go back to the contact, I will have the phone number change that just appeared. I can also make a change directly here. When I go back to my contact, if I synchronize with Equisoft, the new phone number is displayed. At the signature level now, we offer two signature options. We have OneSpan built in, and Tchat N Sign our house signature. The difference between the two is that most insurers only accept DocuSign or OneSpan and Adobe Sign. So we recommend that for most transactions you will have with insurers to take OneSpan because we have a limited number of free documents with OneSpan, while with our house signature, which is accepted in the field of investment with most MGAs, you will be able to have unlimited transactions. What's interesting here is that you're going to have the same process for customers and the same process for your team. It doesn't matter what is going to be used. Once my documents are added, I can change their order if I want to sign them. It is the first document to be displayed that will have the default title. The title of the document is important because it is the name that will be used in the archive later in Equisoft, and it is also what the client will see. For example, if you want to name RRSP Take 2023, with the safe description McKinsey $10,000, we will be able to get this information. You will click on Next. In the contact info portion, you will have the signatories, a true copy, and the signing user. The signing user is the representative. These are the people in your team who will sign. You can get them to sign at the end of the signing process, when the customer signed up, or at the beginning of the process. This is at your discretion. And the difference is that when we get to the archiving stage, the representative will not have the signed documents linked to their Equisoft account. So it's really just the signatories who will have the documents archived in their account. And the true copies are going to be, for example, an insurer who would want to be there in the signing process to access the audit and see who was on the inside. Where you will save a lot of time is when you go to find a customer and the customer. Their email and phone number will come in automatically. You want to add another signatory, you can do so. You can put a signature order too. And we will click on Next. So the documents that are to be signed will be able to be slipped here. I will be able to put the date. If I double click on the date, I can change the format, put it with the default format if that's the format I want all the time. Get bigger, get smaller. It's not perfect in terms of alignment, but it gets the job done. You put date and time. You will be able to put different documents. Where are we going to get multiple signatures? I put this everywhere. Next. Here, by default, you will have a message that is personalized that will say hello with the name of the signer. You will have the name of your company and the name of the document, which might look something like this. Here, you make send all. Documents that are not signed can be added here. So I just changed the account because we got a signature for Willie, and you can see that the representative just got the signature. He can click and sign right away. So in one click, with the Tchat N Sign version, he will be able to have all the documents that will be already signed. If we have marked we have made the signature, that we have saved on the device the default signature, it will be in all the places where we had to sign. So with one click, even if I have to sign 20 times, everything was signed in one go. I can also accompany the client because it is always the same issues that come up. So we're going to go click on View. Say, do you want me to resend the email you didn't receive? Do you want us to change the phone number so you can receive the PIN? You didn't get the PIN, but I can give it to you. So the customer will log in, will receive a code. He will enter the information. I consent. Compared to the representative, the client will click Begin. That's going to get into the first signing place where he's going to have to sign his name. Sign. After that, he will continue. This will direct him to the second signature place, and when he is done, all the signature places, we will be able to click on Finish. And now the signing is complete. If I go back to Tchat N Sign and look in my documents that are signed, I now have my representative and my client who have signed. The deputy will receive an email notification or the representative, depending on your settings. You can download the documents. Look at what happened in the audit process. You can even get a PDF of the whole process. The difference with OneSpan will be this. I will enter my various documents. It's going to be the same or almost the same. So here I have a little difference. The difference is going to be in the contact where I'm going to have the choice between asking a question. I color, for example. Then I will see the blue answer. And I can do the same for the true copy. So, if I send this to an insurance company that wants to be in the process, but I don't have a cell phone number, I'll be able to ask a question. I'm going to enter my user. I will have my client or clients. If I do next, the only difference you will see is that I take the documents and send them to the OneSpan interface. So the preparation of the document will be a little bit different. What people are telling us is that it's a little slower to do it with OneSpan than with our Tchat N Sign signature, but it's going to look pretty similar. So we will have the representative enter his signature, and we will put it where we want. And the difference is also going to be a signature click that we will take by default. So you could put that differently, but most people, well, they liked it better because it's faster. So the client will sign the documents as well, and we will click on Send to send the documents for signature. Once again, we will be able to sign directly as a consultant. The only difference here is that I will have to enter the password that is linked to my cell phone number that I have set as a user. So I just got the text. So here, you see. It is very similar, but we are in the universe of OneSpan. I can click on Finish. Confirm. Next. For each of the documents, we'll have to do Next. Finish. Voila! My document is not yet signed because the client has not yet signed it. It will do exactly the same process as I just did. And we'll be able to go and archive the same way we did earlier. So the experience remains the same for the customer. For the team, you use the same process. So these are not two methods to be understood and mastered. And the same thing, the customer. Customers, for example, who are older, who have more difficulty with a handwritten signature, we're going to be able to use OneSpan and then make it easy for them to click with one click. But what interests us most? The magic of Tchat N Sign. The reason why you will save a lot of time and become efficient is the archiving that is integrated after a signing process. What will happen here is that you will be able to send all the documents directly into Equisoft. You might, for example, just want to add a document like a specimen check that has been added, so you'll be able to do that right there. You add the document. You can see that all the documents here will be linked to the signatory, i.e., the client. But I still have to figure out in which classification I want to put it in my nomenclature. So here, I can search for RRSP. If it was an application to open an RRSP, I could also choose that the last document is in check sample. Therefore, it's going to be filed in another place and I can give a description as I wish, depending on what you like in your file. At the same time as everything is being sent to Equisoft, you will create the activities in Equisoft Connect. That means every single thing that happened. Here, the sending of signature request. When the clients have signed the documents, when they have uploaded the documents, when you have sent the documents to your MGA, so to an external person, and that person has uploaded the documents for the transaction. These are all ways in which you will be able to have a traceability in the client's file of what has happened. When I was talking about an external sending, here we are going to put this for example for our MGA. Some brokers have a portal, so you'll be able to put the documents in an external archive like SharePoint instead. Once the documents are uploaded to SharePoint, you drag them into the broker portal. Here, we will consider that the person sends all the documents by email. There's a good chance that I will not want to send all the documents. For example, I want the opening application, I want the T2033, but I don't need the investment statement and I don't need that other document. So the broker will get only what he needs. He will receive a secure link to fetch the documents with the name of the object that is already there. The documents are signed by. It will be sent with your personalized email. This will not alter the PDF. So we stay with the PDF A with the blue line at the top that will be secured even if you split the PDF. Here, I could do the same thing. So with one click, I will archive. The document is filed in the client's file and is off to be processed at the broker. What does that mean? This means that if I go to my client, you can see that the signature has been sent and completed. We have taken RRSP 2023, the signatory. We can see that it is in the category Tchat N Sign, completed signature. If you look at the documents related to this, you will see the specimen check here with the related audit, and you will see all the other documents that have been signed that will already be filed under mutual funds, RRSPs. If you click on the documents, you will even be able to see who among your users has written the documents. With just a few clicks, your compliance is to the roof. All the documents you sign will always have the same structure, the same framework within your company, no matter who is doing it. The filing will be the same, and you have all the documents done in a few clicks. Here, what I want to show you is your MGA receiving the document. So, we will see the name of the document. It will be done by the name of your company or your firm. And you will be able to click on download the documents. The link will take the broker to the documents to be signed. He will enter his password to access the documents, and then he will be able to download all the documents or one document to complete the transaction. We also have a fax option. Yes, the fax is still popular for some. What we've done is make it easy from a visual perspective and for telecommuting. You can put your PDF document and add it as you would an attachment in an email. You will search for the contact you have, and if the contact has a fax number, the number will be displayed automatically. Once you send the document or receive it, it's like any good old fax. Sometimes it won't work. Then you will have to click on retry. If you are done, and it went well, you can archive it according to your nomenclature. Make the document description, link it to a specific client, create an activity related to it, and be able to archive it in your SharePoint. Once this is done, you will be able to validate the documents you have in SharePoint. In SharePoint, what does that mean? That means if I go into my SharePoint, which is here, which has a little communication panel, you've already been pre-selected or pre-classified as conversation, signature, fax. So, in fax, the document I just uploaded as intern or extern has just been archived here. I can go back into my documents. So, the signatures that I made earlier were picked up here. A good work practice might be to say these are all the documents that have been processed. So I could take all the documents that were processed in January and do that for each month to do some sort of filing and be able to move them into done. The document we did today, RRSP, REAR, 2023. All the documents that I had checked off when I signed will be here, and I will be able to take them and drag them to send them into my MGA portal to be processed by the broker. The same principle applies to conversations. I have the conversations here. My documents will always be filed. Therefore, all of my conversations will be able to go into the file too. You can download our application. All the new features that we are going to push in our application, you will be able to see the evolution here. If you take your camera, iPhone or Android, and select this, it will redirect you to the site, so you can download our mobile application. You enter your username and password to log in. The application is really in beta version. It allows you to text the customer, talk to your team internally or with the entire customer base, and sign documents that are linked to you quickly. Thus, in one click or so, you can have it. Be indulgent, the application is practical. However, it's not final, but it is functional. Last point about IP telephony. If you have a contact, and you click on a phone number, your IP telephony can be linked directly to Microsoft Teams. This is something we can activate for you through one of our partners. What this will do is allow you to make a call directly with Microsoft Teams. It also means that your Microsoft Teams can be used with your cell phone. In the near future, what will happen with Equisoft is that we will surely be able to click on the call. The call will be recorded, and at the end of the conversation it will be added automatically, like, I spoke with Jeff from such and such a time. Therefore, the MP3 audio document will be linked to the task performed automatically.